Boom, we're live. Welcome back to Nick White Classics, and it's time for Cleaning Carts. Actually, today we have a classic Sega Genesis system that's absolutely filthy. As you can see, this poor thing has seen better days. And I'm not sure if this works anymore. This is my original OG Sega Genesis that I've had since I was a kid, and I've never taken this thing apart and cleaned it. You can see it's been in storage, and it's received a lot of dust buildup. There's the volume, the reset. I'm really kind of worried about this on-off switch. Doesn't seem to be clicking, so I don't know if it even works. So let's take it apart, clean it off, and see what we can do. So, boom. If you're just tuning in, welcome back to Nick White Classics. It's time to clean some carts. Actually, today we're cleaning a Sega Genesis, and this is the original OG 16-bit Sega Genesis system. This is the one that I had in the early 90s when I was a kid. You can see it's covered in dust and grime and nastiness. So we're gonna clean it off, both inside and out, and we're gonna make sure that it works. You know, once we get it cleaned, we're gonna pop it open, clean the inside. We're also gonna clean the outside, and then we're gonna hook it up and see if it plays. What's happening, y'all? Thank you for joining us. This is the system that I had as a kid. So it's been around since the 90s. Let's see. Before I take that off, there was a little tray that I wanted to set this on. And that's gonna be right here. Someone's asking why. We are taking this apart. We are doing it just to clean it out and make sure that it works. This thing has 30-something years. Yeah, 33 years of dust and grime on it. So we just want to take it apart, clean it off, and then we're going to plug it in and see if we can play some games on it. I picked up a couple Sega Genesis games at the thrift shop recently. So I'm not able to play them until I clean this sucker off and get it to work. So thanks for joining me. I like to collect retro gaming, retro games, retro systems, and so on. I'm also very much into the Atari 2600 recently. I just cleaned out an old 6-switcher. They call it a sixer. That was fun. That was the first time that I ever tore apart a system and cleaned it out. But the good news is it worked after I cleaned it out and reassembled it. So I thought I would do the same with my Sega Genesis and see if I can get it to work. Okay, I think there's 6 little screws here that we get to take off with just a standard Phillips head bit. Standard Phillips screwdriver, that is. Let's see. 3 came out, 3 more to go. I've never seen the inside of a Sega Genesis, so looking forward to this. Okay, this is the light for the on power, the on light right here. That's wired into the top. Let's see if we can just pop that off. I think we can. Looks like we just disconnect the light bulb right here. So small there. I just gotta be very careful not to tear the wire. Man, might be easier if I pop this front plate off. Let's see, can we pop this plate off? Yeah, squeeze those little plastic ears and top plate pops right off. There's that. We'll just set that aside for now. There's our light bulb. And that is giving me more of a challenge than I expected. You'd think the light bulb would just pop under there, right? It's just fit in such a way where the bulb must go on. Let's move some things. Just going at it with the screwdriver to see what I could do. Maybe I could get the screwdriver under here and pop up the connector without... I might leave it on for the moment and just circle back once we clear some other stuff out of the way. Because, unfortunately, you would think that this little light bulb here would just pop right off. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Ooh. Well, there it is. There's your Sega Genesis on the inside. That's what the guts look like. You got 3 of the screws. This came loose. Yeah, there's another one. This plate looks like it's held on a couple different places. That's a little clip here. We'll pull that out. I think that just holds your power cord in place. Let's pop those off. Throw the screws on my little coaster there. Now we're cooking. We got 3 off. Looks like there's 3 more over here. 3 small screws, same size. What are you fixing? Yeah, I'm just pulling apart a Sega Genesis, an OG original Sega Genesis. Now, I have a Generation 2 that works just fine, but my original that I owned when I was a kid in the 90s, you know, I'm scared to even test it, and I'm glad that I didn't power it on, because now that I look at the inside, look at all this dust, man. So I'm pulling it apart. I'm going to clean the inside and the outside, and then put it back together and hopefully play some Sega Genesis. I got quite the little collection. I've been collecting Sega Genesis games recently, and I got about a dozen or so that I'm dying to play. So once we get this up and running and refurbished, we're going to be playing a bunch of Sega Genesis games on a live stream. Okay, let me just grab a chair here. Let me get situated here. Boom. So, yeah. Again, not really fixing so much as just cleaning. This thing has got 30 some years of dust and debris and buildup. And I may need to get some pliers in order to pull this off. There's another screw there. Okay, so this shield just came off. You can see the inside's nice and clean. The outside, a little dusty. So we're gonna set that aside. Take a look at this. Okay, I definitely want to get this chipboard off here and wipe it down with some isopropyl alcohol. Make sure it's clean and free of debris. Now this shield, which connects directly to your both your output and your power. It's gonna be hard to clean much with that on there, so I'm definitely gonna have to pop that off. Yeah, I'm gonna need some little needle nose pliers. Let me grab a couple. Let me grab a pair of pliers. Okay, let's go out there with the pliers and see if we can't pull that little cable off here. Let's want to detach it from the board without tearing the wire. It shouldn't be that difficult. Maybe it doesn't come off that easily. Starting to think if you pull this, the bulb will come out, right?
Okay, that's not coming off. That is not coming off.
The first major obstacle, just a tiny little light bulb there that is
Causing me a little bit of difficulty, but we're gonna figure it out here. I think it would just pop in, or maybe the bulb. The way that this is engineered is really
snug, which is great. Well, we could clean it now, but without pulling that light off, I'm not sure. So let's let that rock for a second. Okay, I'm back. All right, so I'm determined to remove the light bulb. Just like that. Then we can either put this same light bulb back in, or if we have to, we could just purchase a new bulb. I don't know. Hopefully we can save it. But we got it free from the board. That's the important part. And she's free. Okay, we'll set that over here. And back to the board. We only got 4 screws out of the bottom, so let's get those last 2 out now. Okay. This is the inside of the Sega Genesis. We're gonna pop this off from the plate here so we can clean off the board. And then clean off the plastic casing as well. Here's your AV out adapter, so here's your power adapter. I'm just very gently trying to wiggle this board loose. Don't want to break anything here. I think there's probably a screw or two under this cover, so let's remove this cover just only to see if there's any screws under there. Very gingerly, I have to pop these off without snapping any chips. I see there is a screw right here in this corner, so let's take that out. Just very gently trying to see where's the resistance, where's the remaining resistance coming from it. It does seem like it's right under here because every other side wants to lift right out except for this part, so. Just trying to jimmy this board out here. Still attached somewhere. It does seem like there's still another screw. I'm just not exactly sure how to get to it. There it is. I'm not sure if that's holding it to the board or maybe just holding this plate on to the board rather than holding the board to the case, right? However, maybe we'll take it off and see what we get. It's all about exploration here. Trying to see, just trying to clean everything off really, and then in the process, see what I can. Just tinkering, cleaning. And it looks like because of the length of the screw, I see it is holding, serves to hold this down to the board and also hold the board to the cover. There we go. There's our chipboard. This is the OG original Sega Genesis in all of its glory. All 16 bits. Look at that, man. That's freaking sweet. Okay, so we're gonna just set this right here. Pop that off. This cover just slides right off. So my on and off switch wasn't really clicking, so was a major problem right here. Okay, set that there. Okay, so let's start by gathering our plastic pieces. Let's set this electronics to the side for a moment. Okay, let's get some warm water out here and get just some regular Dawn dish soap into the hot water. Let's clean this puppy up. Just a little squirt of dish soap. Mix it up inside the bin here. No, this is just some hot soapy water. And we're gonna set our components in here. Just the plastic stuff, no electronics, no metal, just the plastic. We're just gonna let those soak. I have an old toothbrush, so I'm gonna go straight to cleaning. Can't wait to play some Mortal Kombat, Sonic Pinball, Toe Jam and Earl. There's a ton of classic Sega Genesis games. Looking forward to checking those out. Okay, we're gonna let that soak for a second, and then we're gonna dry everything up, pull up, and clean the chipboard while this soaks. So let's set this aside for a moment. Dry my hands off over here. Throw my gloves back on. And then we're gonna move on to the electronic components and the metal parts. Just clean those off. Let's see where to start. Let's go with these big metal protecting shields first. I'm just gonna put some 91% isopropyl alcohol onto my paper towel. Clean them off. Not only is there dust in here, there's quite a bit of nastiness. Like, I'm sure I spilled a can of pop on the Sega Genesis at one point, sometime in the early 90s. Whatever it is, there's a little bit of ick, a little bit of buildup on there, aside from just dust. So I'm just hitting it with some disinfectant on every side. I want to dry it off really well, of course, before we put it back together. And that's why we have a high percentage of the alcohol, just so that it dries quickly. You can see when it dries, it leaves a little bit of residue, so then I just hit it with the dry part. Not that it matters. This is just the shield. But the main thing is we get the dust off, right? Hey, what's up? Welcome. Thanks for tuning in to Nick White Classics. We're cleaning off a Sega Genesis today. That's it for that piece. And grab another paper towel, move on to the next. If you're into retro gaming at all, I try to clean cartridges, systems on a regular basis, and I also play retro gaming on the live stream. As soon as we get this cleaned up, dried off, and set back up onto the CRT monitor, we're gonna play some Sega Genesis games. Lately, I've been playing quite a lot of Atari 2600 and a little bit of the Nintendo GameCube as well. I grew up playing this stuff and recently picked up a new hobby, retro gaming. Right now I'm just getting any dust and grime off here. Once we get that, we're going to clean up the chipboard, get everything reassembled and back together. It's going to be good as new. If you're into retro gaming, make sure you double tap the screen, subscribe to the channel. Try to put out new content on a regular basis, including these live streams a couple times a week. Okay, that looks pretty good. And onto the board. Let's set these aside. This is just our screws. Just gonna pour some isopropyl into the cap here. Then we're gonna go to work on the board. First off, it's super dusty, you can see that. So I'm just gonna hit it with some air to begin with and just blow off any of this dust. And I'm just gonna do it off camera so that we don't blow any more dust than we need to onto this space. There we go. Got all the big chunks off. Here's our light. I'm gonna set that with the screws. I'm actually gonna wipe this off so that I have a clean space to set down the board. Actually, let's just flip it. There we go. Okay, so we have the chipboard, the isopropyl, the Q-tips, and now we get to work. So basically, anywhere and everywhere. Anywhere there's dust or dirt, I'm getting in there with a Q-tip and I'm wiping it clean. Look at that, man. That is really, really in rough shape. There's a little switch right there. I'm not really sure what that does. It's a tough switch to get to though, isn't it? Look at that. Oh yeah, there's a lot of dust on there we're getting off. A lot of nastiness. It's tough to get in there with I don't know that I even want to get in there with a Q-tip because I don't want to leave any behind. I don't want to leave any like junk from the Q-tip behind inside these teeth here. I'm just going to be careful to just dab it. Just trying to clean everything as good as I can with the isopropyl and the Q-tip. Look at that. Nasty. This stream, just for anybody just tuning in, this stream is part of a series that I have called Cleaning Classics. Usually clean retro gaming systems or cartridges or controllers. And if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Is there a pin? Oh, there's a, looks like a pin missing out of the controller slot. So would that be, I might be player one missing a pin in there. If that's so, I'm not sure if that's gonna work. Man, this is night and day. Look how clean it is now compared to all the dust that we had caked up. And this side's not bad at all. I might just do a quick once over. Boom. There we go. So where's our power switch connect to? I'm curious. Oh, it's going to be right here. Okay, this is our power switch. So let's take a closer look at the switch. It's right here. This small plastic piece interconnects with the little switch that goes on the top cover. Oh, this is the volume, actually. This is the power switch. Okay. So here's your volume switch. You just clean that off. Volume up, volume down. Went through a whole cap of isopropyl cleaning off the inside of that chipboard. All right. Again, this is my power switch right here. Okay. Sweet. I think that looks pretty damn good if you ask me. So I'm just gonna clean up these Q-tips. All the things that were clean, I'm gonna set on this and take it off the table for now. And now I'm gonna bring back up our case and dry that sucker off. Let's see how that's doing. Okay. Here's the bottom half. Here's the top half of the case. And then all the little covers and such. Here's the power plate. And the power switch right here. This is the part that I was really having a problem with, to be honest, is this power switch. But I think it just must have slipped out of place. This is the little piece for your headphones if you plug in headphones. And there's our power switch. Jordan, hello. Thanks for tuning in to Nick White Classics. that's that. Let's dry these off now. Okay. Now I'm just going to grab my paper towels and dry these off by hand. If you were able to rewind this back to the beginning and see how rough this Sega Genesis was to begin with, man, this looks like new compared to the shape it was in before. That's our volume, that's our reset, and our power button sets right in there. Of course, this is where you put your games in, so that's kind of important. I see there's a little bit of junk that just the hot water didn't get off, so I'm gonna just dip my Q-tip into some isopropyl and see if I can get it off there. Oh yeah, comes right off. Just gonna get in there with Q-tip and get any additional little detail spots. Some of these are just scuffs. The scuffs are not going to come off. Okay. I could pull this apart to get in there, but I think that's going to be more trouble than it's worth. I mean, so I'm not going to take this part off. It's soaked in the hot water. I was able with some soap, so I think it's in. I'm just going to make sure that it's nice and dry, of course, before we reassemble it. But otherwise, I'm okay not taking that part off. If you really want to do a deep clean, you probably should take that off, but in my case, I'm not going to sweat it. So, this is where your light bulb sets. We learned that earlier. I definitely had a hard time figuring that part out. Okay. Now our smaller pieces, let's get those dried up. It's a power switch. Here's our power plate. And then this is our expansion port plate, which I have a Generation 2 that has like a 3D printed plate, and I think they're the same, so this is an original plate for the OG Genesis, so kind of cool. Okay. Oh. Man, there might be another, I don't know if I can get the scuff off, but it's right in the logo, Genesis logo, so. Yeah, there we go. We got it. It's looking clean, man. Okay, that's our Sega Genesis top. Can't seem to get this little scuff off. It looks like maybe I got it off as much as it's gonna get off. I think we'll leave well enough alone after this. Yeah, it's starting to maybe take some of the color of the plastic off. So it's a little bit of junk there, but not bad. We're gonna leave that on as character. I don't see a year printed on this thing anywhere. I was hoping there'd be a year either on the case somewhere or on the board or a chip. Not sure what year the original Sega Genesis came out. I think it might have been 95, or maybe it was a little older than that. Maybe it's 92. I don't remember. Again, I have a second generation Sega, and I know that one came out like a few years after the original, but this is one of the original consoles. Okay, so what we're gonna do, let's bring our chip board back over here and look at reassembling things. Now this slides in here. And that's going to be your headphone jack right there. Then your channel switch right there, RF out. And then your AV adapter. There's two different outs. Okay. These are just our plates. Now one goes on the bottom of the board and one goes on the top. So let's see, how does this fit together? That fits into place like so. And we're going to slide this board back into place here. Sort of set straight down, and then it should slide in. Nope, there it is. It sits flush. Perfect. Put that in. We're gonna go ahead and get some screws going. Yeah, screw some of these back together. Let's see this. This piece is your power, right? This should go on the back right here. Yeah, just like that. Okay, tuck the wire. Boom. This is for your light bulb. That's hardwired in. I thought you could pop it out, and I went at it with the pliers, but it turns out it doesn't come off. It's hardwired in. That's fine. Okay, let's put a couple of these screws back on. There are these two short silver ones. Go here. Which I didn't even need to take those off, to be honest. I'm just screwing these back into to hold the plate over the important components on this board. Okay, and then we use the smallest of the black screws just to attach the board to the bottom of the shell. Actually, I know there's two long black screws right on either side here, so let's just give it one more quick wipe. Make sure I didn't miss anything. These look super clean, honestly. Like, just taking a look at it, it looks like it should read games right away. They look tight. There's no loose teeth in there. Should be good. Okay, so then let's add these screws here. Another long screw on the other side. Okay. Now, I'm not sure which there's a handful of different screws here. I'm not gonna lie. I think these 4 screws are from the bottom. So let me take a look at these. These are from the bottom to hold the top and the bottom of the shell together. I keep spotting little pockets of dirt. Now is the time to clean it. I don't want to go back and clean it again later. While I have it disassembled, let's get it clean. Okay. to the best of my recollection, I'm gonna put these all back together. These tiny short screws just to hold the board into place. Oh. That does not go there. Is it a longer screw that goes there or no screw? Because we can kind of take a closer look here. Okay, there's no screws that go there. This is like a vent hole. Okay, I see. Little screw. The small screws probably go right here. That makes sense. You want to have one in all four corners for sure. And then one on either side of like heavy duty components, like right here where you're plugging and unplugging your controllers all the time. That's going to be important to have a screw on either side. Oops, I think my screws might have got mixed up. So that's a long one that goes there. This sucker's on there tight. You got 5 screws holding that plate in there. Got 1 screw in that corner, 2 screws there, 1 in this corner. I would say that screw there would be good. Okay, let's get the top plate on. Okay, I see. Okay, obviously we got to put this top plate on first. Let's double back and take some of these out. Okay, so I just want to make sure any screw holes that are on here are not covered by
are not already filled in until we get this on. So this is our power light bulb. So I think we're gonna put that out this hole here. Gonna line this up. Oh, nope. I was wrong about that. That doesn't go through. That just goes straight out like that. Boom. Okay, so now we can clearly see where each of these screws go. The screws not only hold on the board to the shell, it also holds this shield on the top. This lightweight little shield. Okay. These need to be screwed into place. Let me look at this closer. Okay, that kind of holds that down. I think this needs to be screwed in, right? Okay, and I think this is our last screw. And boom. We're getting there. We did it, guys. Double tap the screen for putting it back together without destroying anything. Pretty good. Okay, so now let's put this... well, I think we need the light bulb on there. That might be the next step. Okay. So we have our light bulb. Here. This is our power light bulb. Okay, let's get the light bulb back in the top. Got the bulb in. Now I'm just gonna give it a quick twist. And then we need to feed this through this cable. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, let me see. It should be able to go straight through and pop out the bottom. That's what I'm trying to do here. Let's get situated here.
Just got to connect the bulb to this cable.
It's hardwired into the board, and then we just need to put these little wires through there. Okay, we got one. I think we got to slide them both in at the same time too, which is tricky. Okay, I think we got them both started. Okay. Oops. I knew this was going to be give me a challenge because it was tough to get it off to begin with. When it was brand new, I think that was probably a different story because these wires were probably perfectly straight. Now, a little bent up. Try and straighten these out a little bit. Okay. I got that one about as straight as I possibly can. Let's get the other one here. Let's see. I think those go through. How does that feed through? Does it go through to the other side? I think so. I think it should push right straight through. So let's just do one. I was going to try and do them both at the same time, but that is difficult. Let's try one at a time. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's try that again. That one in that side, this one in that side. To get both wires in, let's just slide it through. I think we got it. Oh, did it? Okay, I got one side in, but not the other. Oh, man. That is tricky. Okay, we gotta get them both in at the same time. Okay, gotta get this. There we go. Okay. Now we're cooking. Got them both through. Yes. Awesome. Let's pull them all the way through. Would have thought all this and the light bulb was definitely the most challenging out of everything. Both to take apart and to put back together. Okay. With that, we'll get our cover back on. Whew. Made me sweat a little bit. Finally got it together. All right, so we got to put this top plate on, but before I worry about that, I want to get my power button together here. Oh, I see a little chunk of some junk on there, so I'm just gonna make sure that I get that off. Okay. This is the power button right down there. This sets in that side down. Oh man, yeah, that's tricky to get on there, isn't it? Wait a second, that can't. No. No. First off, I think we should probably connect the switch here. Okay, that's working. And then I see a little bit of dust I missed, so just gonna hit it with a Q-tip here. Yeah, we definitely got some dust off of there. Okay, so this definitely has to go underneath because it can't fit above. Oh, how does this go on there? Okay, that's in. that is definitely what the problem was. There's a little bit of, it's just worn down so much trying to fit this little plastic component in. There we go, we got it clipped into place. Check that out. The power button should work now. Awesome, we did it. We fixed the power button, pulled it apart, we cleaned it, we reassembled it. Let's see, this is gonna be on, this is on position. Now very carefully have to close it without pinching any cables. Make sure that the switch connects where it needs to. There it is. You can hear the click now. Before that was just sliding back and forth, so dude, that's awesome. And we can put the power plate back on here. These little plastic components always make me so nervous. There we go. That's in there, right? Looks good to me. Okay. Is the volume lined up? Yeah, it's not. Damn it. Okay. Let's look at the volume. So the volume's all the way up. Make sure it's all the way up here. And let's try it now. There we go. Yeah. Resets in place. You can feel the resistance when you click it. Okay. Now let's get our last couple 6 screws in there. Okay, we took it apart, we cleaned it out, we got it put back together, and I can't wait to play it. A couple more screws and we're done. Four more screws. If you made it through the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Two more screws. Last screw. And boom, the final screw is in. Now we just have this expansion plate cover snap into place, and boom, our Sega Genesis. The off and on button, the volume, the reset, everything's working. We got our light bulb in there. Everything's cleaned out. We're gonna let it dry, and then tomorrow we're gonna plug it in, put a game in there, and see if it plays. That's it for this episode of Cleanin Carts. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.